Coming up on Network Africa, at least 13 security personnel killed by gunmen after an ambush in Burkina Faso. Death toll from the Democratic Republic of Congo's train accident rises to 75. Plus, a cyclone Gombe makes landfall in Mozambique. 12 persons are killed. Hello and welcome to the program this week. I'm Layo Adegoke. We begin here in West Africa, where reports from Burkina Faso say at least 13 security personnel have been killed in an ambush by gunmen. The attack is said to have taken place near Tapako, a town that's frequently targeted by Islamist militants. Earlier in the day, a bus is said to have hit a landmine near the town, killing 2 people. In the meantime, Burkina Faso's military government has said its priority is to tackle the jihadist insurgency. The junta took power in January after Lieutenant Colonel Paul Henry Damiba led disgruntled officers to force out Roch-Marc Kabore amid public anger over his handling of the worsening security situation. Moving to the Democratic Republic of Congo, the number of people known to have died in a train crash has risen to 75. The train derailed and fell into a ditch in the southeastern village of Bufoué on Thursday. It was a freight service but carried hundreds of stowaways. The Information Ministry says 125 people were also injured, including 4 children whose parents died on the spot when the train derailed because of a sudden track cut. President Felix Tshisekedi has condoled with the family of the victims. He is in the Belgian capital, Brussels, for a medical checkup. Still in the DRC, 6 prisoners have died at the Matadi Central Prison in the western region due to poor detention conditions. According to local media sources, the death toll could increase. The prison's deputy director says 3 of the victims were suffering from tuberculosis, which was detected late, and the patients also refused treatment. The condition of the prisoners is also reported to have deteriorated because of insufficient food. According to prison authorities, the detainees at the facility are given just 1 meal a day because of the lack of enough budgetary allocation by the government. Another batch of 31 evacuees from Romania have arrived in Nigeria aboard Turkish Air, making it the 7th in the series so far. The Nigerians arrived at about 6:30 a.m. at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, today, and were received by officials of the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Nigeria Diaspora Commission, and the Refugee Commission. However, unlike the previous batches of returnees that arrived via chartered flights, the 31 evacuees arrived on a commercial flight. According to a representative of the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs who addressed the returnees, the reason the government used the commercial flight was because of their number.
You are victors, and we want you to see yourself in that manner. We don't want you to be depressive. Neither do we want you to be agitated. Some of you will be concerned about your education. How do we continue? I would like to assure you that the federal government is in negotiation with neighboring countries to ensure that you can further your education. Also, your schools are reaching out to us for the possibility of online study. But whatever happens, you will not lose any year. Therefore, concerning your education, be rest assured. What we will need from you now is proper documentation.
Meanwhile, some Nigerians who are still trapped in Ukraine have been speaking about their ordeal, especially those in the Russian-occupied Kherson city. Jerry Kerry is one of them, and he is the head of the International Student Union in the city. He says they're not allowed to exit the city that has been under attack for a while. In the meantime, Ukraine says that Russians are trying to press the regional council to agree a referendum on Kherson's independence from the country.
We are not allowed to gain exits. That's the green corridor, because it has been captured by the Russians. So they are preventing the Ukrainian army's invasions. So that's why there's no green corridor. And moreover, the bombing, the sounds, and the explosion is really, really terrible. And now, in terms of no provisions, medical aid are limited because they attend to the casualties in the hospitals first, because they are taken as the priority. So for you that are getting sick with cold, some little things that can transfer to something else, then you have no options than to stay indoor and look for possible means to help yourself in terms of treatment. It has been a very terrible situation, and I've been doing this all alone until 2 days back, where some NGOs contacted me, because I stopped receiving calls from people, because everybody just call you. They ask for how are you doing, when you know the situation is critical, and nobody's doing anything. So for now, I would say there's some improvement in terms of the people that are coming in board to see how they can evacuate us here from Kherson.
Zambia has been mourning the death of its former Zambian president, Rupaya Bwezani Banda, who died at home on Friday. His family and the presidency announced his death at the age of 85 after a short battle with colon cancer. Banda, Zambia's fourth president, who was in power from 2008 to 2011, was diagnosed with cancer 2 years ago and had been receiving medical treatment. Mr. Banda had held senior diplomatic posts under First President Kenneth Kaunda before being eventually named as Vice President in 2006 by then-President Levi Mwana Wassa. Banda served as acting president in mid-2008 when Mwana Wassa suffered a stroke. He narrowly won October elections the same year on the ruling party ticket. Zambian journalist Alexander Musokotwane joins us now for further discussions on this. Hello, Alex. Thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Well, the former Zambian president Banda's death is indeed, a sad demise and a great loss to the people, isn't it? What is the mood in the country at this time?
Well, the mood is quite shocking, and his death suddenly on Friday last week wasn't expected. I think to it that just on Thursday, that is a day before, there was this announcement that the former president Banda has passed on. He was visited by the current president. That's Hagai Hichilema, and he mentioned that the president was okay. He's been in high spirits. It is shocking in a way that, yes, the country is aware that the former president has had a long battle of cancer. He's been in out of the country and, of course, seeking medical attention here and there. He's been meeting people. He's been facilitating some of the meetings, both local and internationally. But the news of him passing was shocking. It did start as a result of the social media alerts that we were greeted to until we were informed by his family in the evenings that the former president has passed on. it was quite shocking, and it wasn't expected. It is a shocking period, but Zambians are mourning. Yes.
So, moving forward, what are the plans by the government? You know, are there plans by the government to honor the former president?
Okay. Yes, the plans are there. He's been afforded a period of 7 days national mourning, and this means that everything that was suspended, that was earmarked for national celebrations, has been cancelled. Zambia on Saturday was commemorating its Youth Day celebrations. So in the morning before the commemorations would start around the country, government did announce that they're cancelling this year's Youth Day celebration. So 7 days national mourning has been afforded to the president. The former president will be buried this Friday, that's 18th of March 2022. So it is a state funeral. It's we're going back to what we did experience some few months rather, back when we lost KK, the founding president of this country, and we are yet to move on and to accept that we've lost the father of the nation. And here we are, we've been greeted with the death of President Rupia Banda. And so this is just part of the honor that the current president, Hakainde Hichilema, has accorded to Zambia's fourth Republican president.
Just finally, Alex, President Banda was acting president. He's been vice president. He was acting president before he eventually became president. In addition to this, how will Zambians, remember him? That's talking about his legacy now.
Former president Rupia Banda holds many hats. He is one of the youthful diplomats that Zambians had when we got independence in 1964. He rose to a number of portfolios during the time of the first presidency, the first government that is under President KK. Later on, he was vice president of Zambia before rising to being president in the year 2008. And aside from that, in the regional aspect, he facilitated for a number of interventions for Africa to be liberalized, and he is known to one of the few people to have been acting president in another country, that's in Namibia, in the 70s. So he holds that special legacy that he has created over the years. And just recently, yes, he did lose power in the year 2011 to the Patriotic Front, and he retired to a more quiet life of being a statesman. But what happened afterwards, just when we were experiencing a change of government in the year 2021 last year, he was the father figure that ensured that there was smooth transition between the current president, Hakainde Hichilema, and the former president, that's Rupia Banda, so that there was smooth transition. He was on hand to ensure that the speculation of instability was called off when we were just after voting, a few days afterwards. So he's been instrumental, and even in the last days of his life, that's why I've been saying that it's quite shocking. He's been very active, meeting few different people, different political stakeholders, and so the legacy that he has left, especially in the last few months of him being alive, will be quite. He will be remembered highly, and and the other thing that is making Zambians now remember him more is just the current president Hakainde Hichilema's call to the former president Edgar Lungu that they should mourn together. And yesterday the president did say that what divides this country is less than what should be dividing. So the legacy of the former president, the late president, is quite huge, and he'll be remembered dearly.
All right, then. Thank you so much, Alexander Musokotwane. We're sure we'll be reaching out to you during the state funeral, which you say would be on Friday. Thank you again.
Sure. Sure, thank you so much. To appreciate.
Still ahead on the program. A Nigerian artist uses ballpoint pens to create life-size drawings. Welcome back to the program. The number of people who have died since Cyclone Gombe made landfall in Mozambique has risen to 12. According to local media, the number is expected to rise because some areas in the most severely affected coastal districts of Nampula province, such as Monchigo and Lipo, remain inaccessible and without communications or power. Well, despite the cyclone losing intensity and turning into a storm, it continues to cause heavy rain, and the alert remains for a possible rise in the flow of waters. It is expected that this severe weather will continue throughout the week, with the possibility of another tropical storm forming towards the end of the week. Over 50 people are feared to have been killed in clashes in western Ethiopia after an armed group ambushed a convoy in Benishangul's Guzum. According to Reuters News, at least 20 soldiers were killed in the ambush, and 30 of the attackers are reported to have died in the ensuing firefight. More people were subsequently killed in what is feared to have been summary killings against suspects. The Ethiopian Human Rights Commission says the attack happened in early March near the town of Metekel, adding that security forces blamed the Benishangul attack on ethnic Tigrayan passengers who were traveling on a bus. Here in Nigeria, the Nigerian Customs Service has reiterated its commitment to tackling illegal wildlife trafficking and trade on the country's borders. Well, this was disclosed by the Controller of Customs, Adamawa and Taraba Command, at the end of a one-day training workshop organized for its senior officers in Yola, the Adamawa state capital.
Illegal trafficking of wildlife is a multi-billion-naira business involving the unlawful harvesting and trade of animals, plants, or parts and products derived from them. Wildlife is also traded as skins, leather goods, or souvenirs, and also as food or traditional medicine, pets, and many other forms. This illegal trade results in loss of revenue to the country. This workshop holding in Yola, the Adamawa state capital, is in collaboration with the Wildlife Conservation Service, WCS. It is intended to build the capacity of Nigerian customs officials, particularly those around Adamawa and Taraba states, to confront the challenge of illegal trafficking of wildlife products.
Our expectations is that the participants are going to learn a lot more about illegal wildlife trafficking, about intelligence gathering, and be able to apply all of these skills and knowledge into their jobs. Additionally, this is an opportunity for them to network, to meet people like us out in the field, and be able to share information and intelligence as they do their jobs.
I never knew about this endangered species, wildlife, animals and all that, but now the knowledge is in me.
It's going to assist in preserving the wildlife and discourage people from trading in it illegally. And then is sending a message to whoever, because we know that some people are just into it, making money, illegal, illicit money, trying to deprive the environment, deplete the environment, eliminate, exterminate certain endangered species. There are some species in Africa, for instance now, that are of limited number.
The inability of personnel of the Nigeria Customs Service to be properly educated in identifying the various wildlife species has hampered the fight against illegal trafficking of wildlife products. This training is therefore very important to provide the knowledge for customs officials to carry out their duties.
Kenya's Menengai forest that hosts the world-renowned Menengai crater is being threatened by a huge fire that officials say could destroy vegetation. The forest is located about 160 kilometers west of the capital, Nairobi. Local media reports that the fire, which started on Sunday, has already consumed about 70 hectares of vegetation at the forest. Describing it as an eclipse-like shadow engulfing Nakuru city and the surrounding areas, the flames are said to be fueled by dry and strong winds. On Sunday, Nakuru governor tweeted that there were fires in 3 forests in the county. Algeria's President Abdelmadjid Tebboune has banned the export of foodstuffs that the country imports. The commodities include sugar, oil, pasta, semolina and wheat derivatives. The president's decision also bans importation of frozen meat products. Well, according to Mr. Tebboune, it is economic sabotage to sell commodities that the country does not produce locally. President Tebboune made the announcement after listening to a presentation by trade and agriculture ministers on the availability of food staples. Well, this decision comes amid fears of a sharp increase in global prices of basic foods such as wheat because of the conflict in Ukraine, which is one of the world's biggest exporters. But the president did not give reason for his action. Well, Cameroon is banning the smoking of shisha pipes, saying it poses a health risk to the mostly young people who use it in bars and at home. According to the health ministry, about 46% of young Cameroonians smoke the substance, which is typically a mix of tobacco, molasses, glycerine and flavorings. Doctors say there is a misconception that shishas are not as harmful as cigarettes, and the British Heart Foundation says an hour-long shisha session can be equivalent of smoking more than 100 cigarettes. In recent years, shisha has also been banned in Tanzania as well as Sudan, though the ban there has, however, been reversed and reintroduced several times since. Nigerian artist Jacqueline Suowari uses ballpoint pens to create life-size drawings and showcase various forms of human emotions, spurring conversations on socio-political issues like mental health and gender inequality. She uses between 15 and 20 ballpoint pens to create one piece, depending on the size and detail. Take a look.
Human emotions take form in art as Jacqueline Suowari scribbles at her studio in Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. The 31-year-old Nigerian artist uses ball pens to create life-size portraits of people, which she says is a form of storytelling. Suowari started scribbling using the ball pen in secondary school and went on to study art and design at Nigeria's University of Port Harcourt. In 2014, Suowari abandoned her traditional art mediums and picked up the ball pen as a medium, which she says conveys her style better.
I use this technique in my drawing called layering, in my shading called layering, and it's a metaphor for human experiences and how experiences layer upon each other to form a person's character. So I don't really have a particular style. I would say I prefer realism as opposed to hyper-realism because I like my lines to come alive.
Suowari's new project is a 5-feet art piece titled UFA that shows the defiance, resilience and fashion liberalism of Nigerian women. She explores various conventional themes regarding human interrelationships and expressions like anger, happiness, knowledge, mental health and more.
These are normal human forms of expression, and I feel like when we have to force people into molds and force them to kill forms of expression in themselves, it creates a vacuum, and a lot of people are walking around angry, a lot of people are walking around with mental illness and they don't even know that they have those problems. And for me, I feel like that is a very serious problem in our society. People have a lot of suppressed emotions, and this is something that I hope to bring, into realization or into people's mind.
The skilled draughtswoman has created over 50 drawings and sells them to galleries in the diaspora. Suawari takes between 4 to 6 weeks of shading, layering, highlighting and painting to complete her larger-than-life hollow pieces.
Ultimately, the goal of art is to, touch human lives. At least my art, my goal is to be able to shift people from how they think, inspire them to think in a different way, inspire them to relate with us in a different way, and hopefully, spark this wildfire within society that will create a constant change.
Suawari plans to include different art forms like sculpture, as well as video and performance arts in her work in the future.
And that's it on the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Adegoke.